During December 11th through 15th, 1862, the largest military engagement converged on the city of Fredericksburg. The drama evolved into the deadliest battle of the Civil War, involving over 200,000 combatants. Union General Ambrose Burnside, with an army of 123,000 soldiers, squared off against the undermanned Confederate General Robert E. Lee, leading 78,000 troops. At stake was the potential capture of the Confederate capital of Richmond and a quick resolution to the war. After Ambrose's predecessor, George B. McClellan, failed to aggressively pursue Lee's army following the Battle of Antietam, Abraham Lincoln demanded swifter response to lead the Army of the Potomac. Ambrose positioned his army 35 miles to Falmouth on the north bank of the Rappahannock River in only 2 days. Opposite Falmouth was the prize of Fredericksburg, occupied by only a few hundred Confederates. An expedient capture would enable direct access to Richmond. Despite Ambrose's initial stealth, he was obliged to wait 10 days for the necessary portable pontoon bridges to arrive to enable an invasion. Despite Ambrose's initial stealth, he was obliged to wait 10 days for the necessary portable pontoon bridges to arrive to enable an invasion. The delay, due to Washington, D.C. bureaucratic and logistical obstacles, enabled Lee and his generals, James Longstreet and Stonewall Jackson, to consolidate and entrench their forces. They awaited the Union Army approach. A Union engineering regiment began to assemble the bridges under fire from the awaiting Confederate forces. The process was lengthy and delayed. The Union Army shelled the city from across the river and met armed resistance from snipers upon finally reaching Fredericksburg with half of their regiment. This form of urban combat would become a first in the annals of warfare. Despite initial success, the Union forces were suffering horrific casualties. Wave after wave of Union soldiers advanced over open ground and were raked by devastating fire and artillery. The fight during December 13th and 14th created a monumental bloodbath. On the final evening, it became clear that Lee's armies had prevailed despite losing an estimated 6,000 men. This loss became a statistic that the South could ill afford. His reputation for military genius and maneuvering was elevated by the victory. On December 15th, Burnside retreated from Fredericksburg and crossed back across the Rappahannock. He evacuated from the region to avoid being trapped. His casualties were twice that as Lee's. The disaster ended the military campaign of 1862 with an acidic taste. Returning to Washington, D.C., Lincoln removed Burnside from command and replaced him with Major General Joseph Hooker.